If you or someone you know has been affected by Juke/Juker's recent actions, you must come forward, or your friends must come forward. I don't have a lot of screenshotted evidence for this, other than some damning pieces of evidence. However, what I do have is a very long-winded admission of guilt from Juke, and he knows what he's done wrong and has begged me multiple times to let him go, which, of course, I'm not going to do. So again, if you have any information that you'd like to share that would like to be put into a video with anonymity, of course, first talk to a trusted adult, and then please contact me at the Discord tag Screechy #3703. Thank you. Juker is an online influencer in the Roblox and furry community. He has over 13,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 1,000 followers on Twitter, and over 4,000 on Twitch. He is definitely not a lightweight in this community. There are many things that he has done. Unfortunately, though, a lot of it has been hidden from public view, and I'll get more into that in part 3. However, just bear with me for the little evidence we have and wait until he admits his guilt, because the things he does to try and get out of this situation are so desperate and filled with guilt that it'll be impossible to doubt anything that has come out about him. Clearly, he's been on both YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch for quite a while, streaming a game that is mostly geared towards children. He's been using his position to take advantage of others, and you'll see these in, again, the very few screenshots that we have. However, it becomes a lot clearer when, in the little mini interview I did with him on Twitter, he tries desperately to snake his way out of this situation. I had first heard about this situation through a friend of mine, because he had actually ended up talking to my friend. And although it never got anywhere inherently, let's just say, illegal, it did end up cluing the rest of us into his true behavior with actual minors on Discord. In this screenshot, we can see Juke clearly talking to a 16-year-old and trying to justify the fact that he isn't a predator, because for some reason, I guess predators are only interested in children for sex, and that's it, not for long-term relationships, to groom them into a sexual relationship when they're over 18. We continue to see similarities to even Andrew's behavior, where it seems like he's almost getting off on the fact that he is really a pedophile, but he really is also saying that he's not. Saying, okay, I do love you. I'm not a pedophile. I'm not. Just that reiteration of the I'm not almost sounds like he's jokingly or playfully denying it when he knows to himself that he actually is one out of sexual gratification. And here's an image of Juke very clearly trying to groom this person into a relationship, where at the time, where he was around 21 years old, he's talking to this person saying, oh, the age thing. When you're 18, I'll be 23 or 24, LMAO. That's not even bad. Now, I must say, these screenshots were sent through a third party. I don't know who these people are. I don't know the context behind these situations, as they were very reluctant to speak. I thank them for coming forward, but I really do wish we could have gotten more evidence on him. And here's a nude image he sent to that same 16-year-old of his nude fursona. I don't know what was going through his head when he did this. Maybe he thought that he could win this person over, or maybe he already did. Again, I don't really know. But clearly this is just furthering how he did this for sexual gratification. This was not just a quote-unquote non-pedophilic relationship. So, moving on to my mini interview with him, we see him quickly spiral out of control into fear and guilt. I'll be starting at the top of this conversation and slowly reading down. This all started when my friend, being that third party who sent me the screenshot, sent Juke to my private Twitter account. And he starts with, okay, I'm here. So I say, explain yourself. And he says, what is there to explain that hasn't already been explained? And I said, you've probably seen what I've done, and I assume you don't want it to happen to yourself. And he says, I've seen your work, yes. What I did was gross and wrong. I've already acknowledged this and attended therapy, and I've done everything within my power to better this. So I said, Andrew went to state-mandated therapy. He quote-unquote apologized, yet he still continued to do it. So what can you do to convince me that it, quote, won't happen again? So then he sent me a paragraph saying, I feel even if I try to convince you, you won't buy it. I know it won't happen again. Why I did what I did, I don't know. Growing up, I knew it was wrong. I was raised to know this. Whenever I heard stories about people doing that stuff, I always thought to myself, why would someone do this? And, again, I don't know why I did what I did or said those things. It was awful and disgusting, and I've talked with several people and feel I have changed. I'm at a good point in my life. All I wanted to do was go to therapy and just try and forget about this. This isn't who I am. I swear to you with every fiber of my being that this will never happen again. It infuriates me to no end how often predators like this use the I don't know why I did what I did, and then immediately start talking about how it was disgusting, indicating they know what they did and that they did it with intent. So then I asked, when did you start going to therapy? And he said, this is around the end of October. And I said, so how come I have screenshots of bad behavior dated to November? And he said, I don't know. I kept going through November. He's pulling the same shit out of his ass that Andrew did about how he didn't know what he did, but he also was going to therapy, and when you ask him, has he changed? He says yes, and then as soon as you get him wrapped around your finger, they say, I don't think I've changed. So I kept prodding, clearly having backed him into a corner, and I said, what do you mean, I don't know? You just did it without thought? And he said, well, no, I don't know. I'm scared, man. I'm sorry. So I said, you're scared. And he said, I don't know what to say. So I said, well, that really sucks, doesn't it? And he said, yeah, what I did wrong, and I said, so what are you gonna do when this becomes public? He said, that isn't who I am, I can't say because I don't know. And then I responded, it is who you are. Maybe not entirely offline, but you've done this, it is going to be out there, and people will associate your behavior with your character and self. Now, seeing no way out, he resorts to absolute desperation, saying, there has to be something I can do. Anything. So, I gave him an ultimatum, saying, I'm going to ask you to do a number of things when I tell you to. When the video comes out, I want you, your voice, and your admission of guilt. It will look so much better on you in the future if you do this. Secondly, I want you to publicly apologize on your YouTube and terminate your Twitter, Discord, and Twitch. It is a lot, but people will witch hunt you if you don't do this. I know you don't want that. So then he says, I can't delete that stuff. That's my life's work. Like anyone fucking cares at this point. And I said, well, I'm truly sorry, but Twitch will likely delete it anyways when me and multiple other big YouTubers report you to Twitch and get you banned anyways. So you either leave with a shred of dignity or have everything taken from you without prior notice. And he said, if I deleted my YouTube and left Roblox completely, would you consider not doing this and constantly keeping an eye on me to make sure? Please, Twitch is my everything. I will delete my Roblox account and YouTube, but please, I'm begging you. This act of pure, sad desperation does nothing to even salvage his identity. And I said, no, if I let you go, it sets a precedent. You must face the consequences of your actions. You're an adult, not a child. So, like I said, apologize on every platform you have when and only when I give you the green light, which he disobeyed, whatever. And then delete everything, or else people will witch hunt you. Not me, but people watching will. And it will be absolutely hell for you. That is not a threat, it's just reality. You need to make amends in your personal life, and that can only be done by removing yourself from every platform you're currently on. What I'm trying to do is be merciful, which is not true at all, and give you the second chance you're asking, which, again, I'm not really giving him a second chance, but I had to see if he would actually take it. And said, leave everything behind, but if you stay, you're leaving a giant footprint of everything you've ever done. So that concludes the little interview part. He didn't say anything else. I kept talking to him and he didn't respond, and I actually recently just told him I'm making the video right now if you want to include a verbal apology, but he has not responded, even though he looked at it. He actually did publish a really shitty apology where he only discussed one out of the numerous instances wherein he had been grooming children, and I'll read some snippets of that right now. In a twit longer, he typed, I'm scared to start this in a way that seems like I'm rushing it, but honestly I have zero clue how I'm going to write this. 2021 was a rough year for me and a lot of people. For me, I did something that is going to stay with me forever, and today I'm here alone to make that mistake. I know for a fact that this is not the only person he's done it to, and he's done it to multiple other people, and he's trying to frame it in the fact that he has only done it to one person, which is total bullshit. Talking about how one guy was 17 and he was 21 and they got really close, and it's like, oh, well, 17 is not really that big of a deal, right? That's what he's trying to make the viewer believe. However, he's clearly done it to someone who is 16 years old and done it to people who are 15 as well, sending really weird questions to them about vor and strange images, sometimes even NSFW to 15-year-olds. And he's lying. He's straight up lying in this post. But other than that, there's not much more I can say about this. I think the evidence is there. I think his speech in Twitter definitely proves his guilt. So now I'm going to move on to my growing disappointment and frustration with the bad business community and their silence over this. Because, if you didn't know, he was banned from bad business in about October and November of 2021 because of these actions. And the bad business moderation team did fuck all to make this apparent to the rest of the Roblox community that Juke was a predator. Actually, as I'm speaking this very sentence, he just deleted his YouTube channel of 13,000 subscribers. It is gone. When I took those screenshots for this video literally 15 minutes ago, his channel was gone. There's one part of his YouTube channel saved on the Wayback Machine. However, it's from 2020, so his video announcing his quote-unquote quitting from bad business is not there anymore. Just know that he did make a video where it was like a montage, like, oh, bye bad business, I'm moving on, but he was actually just completely banned from their Discord and the actual game. I'm going to keep this section short so it doesn't overshadow the actual ousting of a real predator. However, must I say how unbelievably disappointed and disgusted at the gross negligence of the bad business moderators in the face of a predator actively on their platform and making videos about Roblox and of other FPS games. He's still, well, not anymore, had a very popular YouTube channel, uploaded Phantom Forces videos and other games. He still streams Tarkov and Roblox almost every day, and yet bad business did nothing. They could have gone to Roblox with evidence and tried to get him banned. They could have made a PSA about how he was a predator to try and deplatform them, but they did nothing. Me and my friends contacted nothing short of 4 moderators trying to get them to give us some information, and they gave nothing. And so, if you are a victim of Juke's abuse, please, as I said in the beginning of the video, come forward. You can keep it anonymous and have it be in a video, or you can keep it completely private with me. More information about this man needs to come out, because there is so few evidence outside of his actual admission of guilt to prove all the terrible things he's done. So again, please, talk to a trusted adult and contact me if you so choose. Thank you very much.